He's a clever boy, that's for sure. Well, now another in our series which hopefully brings a little clarity to some of those art-isms. And this week, it's a real monster. So good luck to writer Daniel Burt as he attempts to grapple with postmodernism.
Our next ism is big. It's contemporary, it's contentious, and sometimes it's downright confusing. It's supposed to be after everything that we thought was new. But what is postmodernism? It's a big question, and while I'm not sure there is a definitive answer, the NGV seems a good place to start.
Daniel, the thing about postmodernism, it's such a tricky term because all of the theoreticians and philosophers are still debating exactly what it means. And the possibility that all of their opinions could in some way be right is in itself very postmodern. So when it comes to art, parody and appropriation would be two of the key postmodern tools. You'll see artists borrow ideas and imagery from pop culture, from past art movements, and even from each other. And I reckon we'll find some great examples of that in here. So the first artist I want to introduce you to is the king of post-pop, Jeff Koons.
Look at this. This is enormous.
This is enormous. These two paintings are from the Easy Fun Ethereal series that he painted in about 2000. This is mountains and this is sandwiches.
They look like big adverts. I feel like I should be buying something.
You should exactly feel like you should be buying something. Okay. Koons wants to communicate with the masses, and so he uses the language of advertising to communicate.
What do you suppose makes this postmodern?
Appropriation is a key approach for postmodern, and the way Koons borrows his imagery from junk mail and all manner of popular culture, and also the way he's borrowed from so many different historical styles such as Rococo, Baroque, their photorealist paintings, they're very surreal.
It's very intricate. This must have taken him forever.
Well, it's unlikely that Koons himself painted these. This is a really interesting aspect of these works, is that the modernist notion of artist as hero, you know, the original, has completely gone out the window. Daniel, you might also know some of Koons' works, for example, the work which was the 3 basketballs.
I've seen that, yeah.
Suspended in the tanks.
The tank's full of water and there's just 3 basketballs.
That work is particularly postmodern in the sense that it refers to the way the independent movement of any of those balls, even within that space, react upon each other and everything around them. It's a very multi-layered work, if you like. The wit with which Koons borrows from the everyday, such as, have you seen his work with the vacuum cleaners? Things that he's nailed to the wall like kettles. It's this wit with which he ridicules his own work that makes his approach so postmodern.
Can you still be postmodern? I mean, that's 2000.
Absolutely, you can still be postmodern, but postmodernity is the attitude and the politics that you bring to your work, not just the era in which you make it.
And Koons has got attitude in spades. There's parody, there's appropriation, the loss of artist as hero. Koons' work is not what it appears to be.
This is Cindy Sherman's untitled number 112, which was made in 1982. By this stage, Cindy had moved into colour. An earlier series that she's particularly well known for is the Untitled Film Still series, which was principally black and white. Although it's Cindy Sherman we see in all of these photographs, she's very much role-playing. These are not self-portraits. So the characters that she plays in the Untitled Film Still series all look like they've been modelled on stereotypical roles for women that have come out of B-grade movies or television or the media. And the scary thing is how today we still recognise those roles. They are still prevalent in the media today.
Why is Cindy Sherman postmodern?
Sherman manages to use parody to reveal these roles as constructed, and accordingly this is what makes her such a chief exponent of postmodernism.
When do we just stop and say, all right, Cindy, we get it, everything's made up and a construct?
Well, the thing about Sherman is she's always reinventing herself and her ideas and how she explores these layered ways of investigating how the world is put together. So I think she's going to remain a very key contemporary artist for a long time.
She's not over yet.
No, she certainly
isn't. The Queen
isn't.
rages on.
That's right.
Go Cindy.
This is Matthew Barney's Cremaster Cycle, and this is the last piece I wanted to show you because it is really going to be like nothing you've ever seen before.
Yeah, it's visually spectacular.
It's a series of 5 films that he made out of sequence between 1994 and 2002.
Is it the fact that it's on film? Is that why it's postmodern?
Well, no, film is the media. Postmodern's more the attitude or the framework that it's made in.
What's he trying to say?
Well, that's very hard to tell because the linear narrative has completely gone out the window here. This is very multi-layered. Even the camera angles change all the time. 1 minute it's straight on, the next minute it's bird's eye view. All of these different layers and paths through the film are one indicator that this work comes from a postmodern approach.
Is there an element of, oh look, I'll make horses do funny things and we'll see how they interpret it?
Barney's a pretty complex person. I think he knows exactly what he's doing in every second and every nuance of these films. What these labyrinthine plots in these 5 different films show us is that Barney sees the world on multiple levels from loads of different angles, and he's really inviting us to do the same. The reason that the Cremaster cycle could be seen as postmodern is that the imagery involved is very open to multi-layered fluid readings.
Because it's crazy, because there's no narrative, because it's totally wild, that pretty much almost makes it postmodern.
Because you can approach it from any angle you like.
Okay, so it's only a slice, but I've found postmodernism in the attitude of Koons's consumer culture ridicule, it's there in Cindy Sherman's role-playing critique, and it's there in Matthew Barney's multi-layered narrative. The postmodern artist knows exactly how they are subverting the idea they appear to represent, and relish the irony with which they do so. And while there is still society to comment on, or until theorists come up with a new ism, postmodernism lives on.